Network. The NFL show, as always, is brought to you by Manscaped. Now, the next time you're looking for the perfect gift for your partner, I don't know what that means, this holiday season, we have the perfect package for the perfect package. I'm reading this, Sam. I'm not making this one up. The Perfect Package 3.0 by Manscaped is the number one recommended gift all year long. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 3.0, which is the best men's below-the-belt grooming trimmer, which can also be used on any part of your body. Hairy chest or back, Steve Risley?
I don't have a hairy back.
Well, the Perfect Package 3.0 will take care of it. Now, you can look no further if you have hair down there. The Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 is designed to reduce cuts and reduce cuts. I don't want to reduce cuts on my junk. And makes for a smooth trim. Do you want to reduce cuts on your junk, Steve?
At 62, you don't do a lot of manscaping. You're just kind of grateful to have hair anywhere on your body.
But if you want to trim it up, you can use this 7,000 RPM trimmer, which has helped reduce manscaping accidents around the world.
I did get a question. Does it work on women?
Yeah, it works on women.
There you go. Well, why don't they call it the I don't know, unisex scaper?
Well, the thing is this: even if your wife uses it, it'll still make your balls happy.
There you go.
There you go. So, in addition, you'll find other liquid formulations inside the Perfect Package, like the Crop Preserver. You save 20% off free shipping. You also get the Crop Reviver, Ball Toner, and Reduced Chafing Boxer Briefs. These formulations are all vegan. Who's eating them? Cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free. I don't know.
Sam, Sam, do you realize at college you could pre-order some of these from Manscaped and go around to the sororities? You know how many things you'd sell? You'd be able to eat like a pig.
Whoa. Hey, clean it up, Steve.
No, eat like a pig at a steakhouse or a restaurant. I didn't think of that. Gee, you got a dirty mind, good bastard. I was thinking about you could sell them, make some profit, and go to Burger King or McDonald's or something.
All right, use the promo code TGT20. Use the promo code TGT20 at manscaped.com to get 20% off plus free shipping for the perfect holiday gift for him or her, and it'll make your balls happy. So make sure you check out Manscaped. All right, I'm your host, Mike Goodpastor, after that overly long presentation, and I want to welcome in today my co-host, as always, Sam Teets. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing great, Mike. How about you?
All right, and then, of course, we have national champion for the 1981 Indiana Hoosiers, Bob Knight's whipping boy, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, I'm just grateful to be back after my dismal picking last week. Even though I did pick against my beloved Colts, I'm surprised you guys even wanted me back on the air.
Actually,
other than to make you two look good.
There's that too. But what the hell? And also, you were the closest one to beating us. You only finished a game behind both of us last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
I was almost cream of the crop.
Hopefully, you didn't pick against your Colts last night as they beat the Tennessee Titans 34-17. And they looked like a complete team last night, Sam. And Nyheim Hines was stellar.
Yeah, this is what we talked about a little bit with Kent Sterling the other day. You need to have that running game. I go out there, 29 carries, 133 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns all on the ground. So they performed phenomenally in that level of the game. That's where they struggled the past couple weeks. That's what they've been missing last year. But even though they had only just like 3 more minutes of time possession, they had everything there. And Michael Pittman Jr., who I've been talking about since before the draft, who missed a lot of this time this year with an injury, 7 receptions for 101 yards. If they can have him consistently do that, this is going to be a much better offense than what it's been so far.
Yeah, and Phillip Rivers, 29 of 39, 308 yards, a touchdown. The most important part, Steve, here is no interceptions. And it seems like when he doesn't throw a pick, the Colts win. When he does throw them, they lose. Rivers was on point last night.
Definitely. And we're going to have that. I think the thing about the Colts, what I saw last night was it's a team that's playing. Everybody is making equal contributions to the win. The offensive line, while they're doing their job. They cut more holes last night than I'd seen them the week before against Baltimore. They're keeping the pressure off of Rivers. Giving Rivers the option. I still don't like the fact that Rivers isn't throwing the deep ball. I think he's going to have to do that, or the linebackers are going to start cheating up. Defensively, I mean, it's. I guess they went into the game ranked number 1 defense in the NFL overall. I mean, but and you can't pick a star on this football team right now. They have somebody stepping up every game, and that's a mark of a good football team, because if one player goes down or something happens to one player, they're going to have fill in, and the Colts are just probably humming about it. They're probably playing about as good a football as they can play right now, I would say.
Well, and I think the big thing is they got to show consistency. But the big point of the game last night to me was this. The Titans come out, they score right away, go up 7-0, stop the Colts, get the ball back. On a 3rd down pass, A.J. Brown drops what probably would have been a touchdown and given them a 14-0 lead. That was kind of the death knell. When something like that happens in a game, especially in a game where the two teams are evenly matched, it's not surprising the way it turned out. And A.J. Brown has been great, especially the last few weeks. And, Sam, I think that was the biggest play of the game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, because if you go up 14-0, I mean, that really kills the Colts and kind of puts them in a hole. And we saw Tennessee couldn't climb out of a 14-point deficit hole later in the game in the 4th quarter. They ended up going down. They couldn't get out of it. So, to me, that was a huge play. I think it could have been a game-defining play. You look at how Tennessee finished for the day. Ryan Tannehill only 15 for 27, 147 yards and touchdowns. So another not-so-great game, the second in a row for him. I mean, if you have that touchdown to A.J. Brown, that's got to be like another 60 to 70 yards. You don't have off because he doesn't go out there and get that play. And also, you abandon the running game and throw Philip Rivers the rest of the half, and that makes him maybe make more mistakes. So to me, absolutely, that was one of the biggest plays of the game.
Yeah, we got hell for all 3 of us picking Tennessee yesterday. Bobby Sheridan, you were right. All right, let's go ahead and look at next week's game, or this coming week's game.
Hey, I love it when Bobby Sheridan's right, because if Bobby Sheridan's right, that means Bobby Sheridan's making money. And I like it when Bobby Sheridan makes money. So that's a good thing.
Well, that's good. He's always nicer when he texts in on the show. And, he was very nice to Sam yesterday, which really worried me. Because
I know, I saw his tweet. Of course, I saw Sam kissing his ass and tweeting back to him.
Yeah.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah.
Way to go, Sam.
Well, Sam's a little girl.
I'm just joking around.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
No, you weren't.
No, you weren't.
All right. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 6-3. Will go to Carolina to take on the Panthers, who are 3-6. I think the question here is, can the Panthers block the Buccaneers' defensive front? I don't think they can. I like the Bucs to win this game, Sam.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's got to be Tampa Bay in this one. I know Carolina's got a lot going for them, but they're not going to have Christian McCaffrey for this game at the very least. They might have him back the week after that. But I think they're going to be without McCaffrey this coming Sunday. Without him, I mean, they kept up with Kansas City this past weekend, but it was all because they kept McCaffrey there. Even if Ted Bridgewater has a good game this week, I don't see them keeping up with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
All right, Steve?
Yeah, I think, the Buccaneers in the first game they played, I think they sacked Bridgewater 5 times. They pressured him an additional 15 times. The offensive line has really been suspect for Carolina in terms of giving Bridgewater the pass protection he needs. I think there's going to be some honked off factor into this game for Tampa Bay after the drudging and embarrassment they took against St. Louis or New Orleans, yeah, the Saints, not St. Louis. So, Brady, that's the first time he hadn't thrown a touchdown pass, and God knows how long. And then the Bucs didn't score touchdowns, didn't get in the end zone. I think you'll see a different Bucs team show up, and I think this one goes easily to easily. The game's at Carolina. What's the weather going to be like there?
It'd be nicer than it is in Indiana right now. I don't think weather matters. I think the big thing is this. I think this is a huge game for Tampa Bay, because if they were to come out and lay another egg, then there's going to be some doubts that, have some validity behind them.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Tampa Bay has another bad game. We're seriously looking at a situation where they could start. Well, they're going to be a wild card team already because New Orleans is taking over that division at the time. But they start slipping. We're going to see a team that maybe they fall 6-4. You got to start wondering, are they even a top 5 team then at that point?
All right.
Well, and I've read some rumblings all this week that they're now some of the prognosticators are lauding New Orleans now as the best team in the NFC right now.
Actually, from what I've seen, Steve, they are. And it's either
Yeah.
them or Kansas. I think they might be the best team in the NFL right now, but every time we think that, that team comes up and loses the next week. So that's what's made this season so dumbfounding. And one thing that's not dumbfounding is the Jacksonville Jaguars, because they're just terrible. They go to Green Bay to play the Packers. Steve, I assume you're picking the Packers?
Yeah, I think this is just a huge mismatch. The game's at Green Bay. Weather will be a factor up there. I'm assuming it's going to be cold up there, which teams like Jacksonville, they're not used to playing in that kind of climate. So, but the only question I have about Green Bay now, with a little bit of a resurgence in the Colts, and they've moved that game to a 4:00 national game. The Colts Packers has moved to a 4:00. So it means it's probably going to be one of the late national games. Are the Packers going to spend any time looking ahead to the Colts because how dismal the Jaguars are? Well, the only thing I could say, I don't think Aaron Rodgers would let that happen, but in terms of the entire team, certainly I think the Packers' focus is probably a little bit more on the Colts going into Indianapolis to play what's going to become an important game for both teams into this Jacksonville. I just don't think Jacksonville has the manpower.
Yeah, Jacksonville's not very good. I'm going to pick the Jaguars. I don't need a big explanation like Risley. I think this is fairly cut and dry.
You're picking the Jaguars?
No.
You just said you're going to pick the Jaguars.
I know.
You're going to pick the Jaguars.
I laughed then, too, because I knew Risley would jump in.
No, you didn't laugh. Did you hear him laugh, Sam?
Yeah. You go back and watch the film.
All right.
So, Sam, you want to make it 3 Packers on this one?
Yeah, easily. It's going to be Green Bay here. Aaron Rodgers is an MVP candidate.
All right, next up to Houston, Texas at 2-6. We'll go to Cleveland to play the Browns, who are 5-3. Nick Chubb, who's been out since week 4 with a knee injury, is expected to return on Sunday. And that makes this Browns team that much better, Sam.
Yeah, this is going to be a very good Browns team if Chubb's back. But I don't know what condition he's going to be in. It might take him a week to get back into football shape. I mean, this is a team I want to pick Cleveland because I think everything tells me Cleveland's going to win this game because they don't have a very good run defense in Houston right now. I'm going to end up taking Deshaun Watson. I think the Houston Texans are going to pull off this upset. I think they're getting a little bit hot here towards the middle of the season, and I just can't trust Cleveland.
All right, Steve, are you going to pick the upset with Sam, or are you going the other way?
I'm going to go with Cleveland. I think Cleveland's just having a little bit of a Cinderella story this season. I don't think they're going to carry it anywhere into the playoffs. I think they'll make the playoffs probably, but I don't think they're scheduled that strong. But I think they're having a little bit of Cinderella time right now, a resurgence. And Houston just continues to just be an enigma. It's a very talented football team that just is just in total disarray.
Oh, they're not a talented football team. They have a talented quarterback. They traded all the talent.
Yeah.
But I think that I want to pick Houston too because of Deshaun Watson. The thing I can't get past is the fact that Houston is allowing an average of 159.5 rushing yards per game. That means Baker Mayfield doesn't have to throw the ball. I'm going to pick Cleveland, but it wouldn't surprise me if Deshaun Watson pulls it out. But I think you got to go Browns here. Next up, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the 3-4-1 Eagles will go to New York to battle the 2-7 Giants. And this is a huge game for playoff considerations. Steve, Eagles or Giants?
I'm going to go Giants. I've said this before, I think last week, that I've always been a Giants fan, again, because of Eli and the Manning ties, obviously. But the Giants are a team that always seem to start accelerating in the second half of the season, despite whatever their record is in the first half of the season. And they're a team that ekes out making the playoffs at 7 or 9-7 or 8-8, something along that. And the Eagles, you don't know which Carson Wentz is going to show up. So I just like I like the Giants games in New York, home field because it doesn't really matter. There's nobody in the stands. But I like the Giants in this game.
All right, Sam, agree or disagree?
Disagree. I'm picking the Eagles here because they absolutely have to have this win. The Giants are a game and a half back behind Philadelphia right now, and the Eagles hold the tiebreaker. So even if they lose this game, Philadelphia's not giving up a top spot in their division. But at the same point, The next 5 games after the Giants for Philadelphia are the Cleveland Browns, Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints, and Arizona Cardinals. So you have 5 winning football teams right after this New York Giants game. You absolutely this Sunday. I'm taking the Eagles.
All right. I am going to go with Sam. And very simply, Carson Wentz is better than Daniel Jones. I think the Eagles have had a week off. They'll be slightly healthier. But Daniel Jones has lost 16 straight games against all opponents not named Washington. The Philadelphia Eagles are not named Washington. I think the Eagles win this game. I would love to see the Giants win it. I think their defense gives them a chance. I just don't trust Daniel Jones. I know Carson Wentz has been horrible this year, but I think Wentz gets the win here and gets the Eagles to 500. The next matchup, a team that is named.
But we can tie it back to Washington because there is a certain president who got screwed based on voting counting happened in Philadelphia. So you can tie Philadelphia and Washington back together.
Okay, can you tell me your proof on your voting claim here?
My grandmother, who passed away about 50 years ago, voted 3 times in this election.
Do you have proof of that?
That she's dead? Yeah, I got her ashes in the
she
living room.
voted.
Yeah, I got carbon. I voted for her.
Oh, okay. Well, then she voted. All right. Washington, the Washington football team at the Detroit Lions. Washington's 2-6. Detroit is 3-5. I'll pick this one. Both teams suck. I'm going to go with the Lions just because. Sam?
Yeah, I don't know what Alex Smith is going to be. He's going to be starting for Washington. He had 3 picks against the Giants last week. I don't like either of these teams. I don't like either. Well, I especially don't like Matt Patricia and the coaching staff for Detroit right now. I don't like either offenses, but I'm going to go with Detroit as well. I think they're just more talented football team.
All right, Steve?
Yeah, I think Detroit's more talented, but I think Antonio Gibson's due for another big game. So I'm liking Washington in this one. I'm going to go out on a bold limb.
All right. Next up, I think maybe the most interesting game of the week, and definitely the game with probably the best-looking helmet combination. I think this field will look pretty with these 2 teams on it. The Buffalo Bills at the Arizona Cardinals, Steve.
Well, it's hard to bet against Buffalo at this time, but actually the spread favors Arizona in this game. Kyler Murray's coming on. He's getting better week by week, but I would have to go with Buffalo. They've shown throughout the season they can beat just about anybody they play, except for 2 teams at 7-2.
All right. Sam?
Yeah, the Bills had 5 or 6 sacks on Russell Wilson this past weekend. They forced him to turn the ball over 4 times. You can do that against Russell Wilson. You can do something against Kyler Murray. So I have a feeling that Buffalo's defense is going to make an impact in this game. And assuming Josh Allen doesn't fall off and have another bad stretch of games, he'll probably outperform Kyler Murray. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game.
Yeah, I like the Buffalo Bills also. I think that defense is rounding into shape, and I think if they round into the shape they were in the past year or 2, I think Buffalo is a heavy Super Bowl contender when it comes to the AFC.
Well, that's a question I was going to ask you, Mike. Is Buffalo in consideration for maybe one of the 2 best teams in the AFC right now?
I think this. I think I said this 4 weeks ago. They scared me for a couple weeks, but I think the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC.
Better than Kansas City?
Yes. I think their defense is better. I think Josh Allen is very good. I think their coach is very good. I know Sam will probably disagree with me, but the Kansas City defense really worries me from what I've seen the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Buffalo on the same stage as you right now. I know you don't like that, and that's totally cool with me at this point.
Just because you hate Josh Allen.
They already lost to Kansas City this year, and Josh Allen, that offense was horrible in that game.
What the hell's that got to do with anything?
They beat Seattle. I don't know.
Wait a second.
Buffalo's
Wait. So what you're saying is this, Sam. The Raiders are better than the Chiefs.
No, but you made that argument already, haven't you?
They beat them. You just made that argument. My argument is this. When you asked me who I think goes to the Super Bowl right now, I would say New Orleans and Buffalo. Now, I'm not telling you right now either one of them's the best team in the AFC or the NFC. What I'm telling you is what I see are teams that are complete. I think the Bills' defense is continuously going to get better. And I don't know if they play in January. I don't know why it matters what happened in a game in September or October.
Yeah, Buffalo's going to get beat by Kansas.
So just by your response, that'll tell you knew you lost the argument.
I'll tell you this, Patrick Mahomes, world's better than Josh Allen. I don't care what comparisons you make to them. I know you will make comparisons between them.
Well,
yes,
I will tell you
really.
this. I think no matter what you think, Buffalo's defense is worlds better than Kansas City's. And I think that's the most important thing. I think both quarterbacks are very good. I think Patrick Mahomes is obviously better than Josh Allen. I'm just going with the defense of the Buffalo Bills.
There's no I in team, Sam. Patrick Mahomes doesn't make the Kansas City Chiefs single-handedly.
He doesn't make them single-handedly. And last year, the Chiefs won because of their defense at the end of the season. I don't see the defense playing that well right now. Now, maybe that changes because last year they didn't play well till week 11. Maybe that happens again. But last year, the thing to put the Chiefs over the top wasn't so much Patrick Mahomes because the Niners really controlled him until the last 10 minutes of that Super Bowl. The thing that kept him in that game so he could win it was the defense. And when you have a really good defense and a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, you're really hard to beat. I just don't know that we're going to see a Chiefs defense that's that good again, Sam.
No, that's fair. But also, going into the year, we said we didn't know what Buffalo's defense was going to be. Buffalo's defense opened up the year horribly. Now they're at a point where we're talking about, hey, they contained Russell Wilson.
My point is this. My bet is Buffalo's defense, by the time we get to the playoffs, is one of the 3 or 4 best defenses in the NFL. I think Kansas City is going to be somewhere between 15 and 20.
Yeah. And Sam, if I ever got a chance to talk about the only real sport that completed their entire season this year, which would be NASCAR, I would tell you how the Jackman and saved.
Oh, jeez, Mike. Get Adam back.
All right, no. So that
are you cutting me out?
No, I wouldn't do that. What are you talking about? Jeez.
Well, you're never going to know that story because you never let me talk NASCAR.
Oh, well, no, because it's stupid. You were talking about NASCAR, and then you said Jackman, and you just lost me right there.
Well, he's the Jackman. What can I say?
Do you think he would appreciate Manscaped?
I know. I was just thinking of a tie-in there, but I was trying to deviate from what we're trying to do.
So we all picked Buffalo, and now I've remembered to switch to games on the thing. Next up, Denver will travel to Las Vegas. That doesn't sound right. To play the LA Raiders. The Raiders are 5-3. The Broncos, of course, were picked by Sam Teach to make the playoffs at the start of the year, and now they're 3-5. Sam, you think the Broncos will still make the playoffs?
No, it's not looking too good for that prediction. So I'm going to take Las Vegas in this one. I do think that there's a chance the Broncos actually keep this a little closer than we anticipate because they have closed the games in the fourth quarter of the past 2 weeks at this point. I still think the Raiders will win fairly, but at the same point, maybe you see a situation where it narrows to a one-score lead in the fourth quarter.
I think this is going to be a fairly close game, but I do think the Raiders will win it, Steve.
Oh, yeah, I definitely. It's hard for me to swallow that Gruden's actually doing a good job there. I know when he first came and signed the $100 million contract, we were all poo-pooing him and everything like that.
Hey, you can poo-poo that till he wins a Super Bowl because at $100 million, you've got to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think the Raiders, what they're doing is they're not making a lot of mistakes. I think Derek Carr has got the 3rd best ratio in the NFL this season of touchdowns to interceptions. He's thrown only 8 interceptions and 16, 17, 18 touchdown passes or something like that. I don't have the stat right in front of me, but I was reading about it earlier. But he's got a good ratio. They aren't turning the ball over a lot. They're not making a lot of mistakes. I think that Las Vegas is a dangerous team to anybody that plays them on any given Sunday.
I agree. Next up, one of the more interesting games of the week, the Los Angeles Chargers will travel to Miami to play the Dolphins. It's Tua Tagovailoa, the number 5 pick in the 2020 draft against Justin Herbert, the number 6 pick in the draft. Both of them have started off well. Tua is 2-0. Last week played really well. outdueled Kyler Murray? Can he outduel Justin Herbert, Steve?
Yes, I believe he can.
Will he?
Yes. Yeah. I like the Dolphins in this game.
All right.
And go ahead. I was looking for a stat that I read earlier. Go ahead. I'll get back to it. I'm trying to figure it out here.
All right. Just jump in when Sam's done with
Well, okay. The other part too. The other part here is for the Chargers. They're predicting Bosa to be back, aren't they?
Yeah, he will return, and he's going to be something to handle there.
Yeah.
The Chargers have lost one score games.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, they've tied for the most within a team's first 8 games in NFL history.
Yeah.
So, Sam, can they get it done here? I think they can, but will they?
I have to pick at least one upset this week. This is going to be the upset I'm taking. The Chargers are just a bad matchup for the Dolphins. I really do. I think they've got enough pieces, they got enough offensive weapons to maybe do something that like Arizona did last week, score 30-something points. Defensively, it'll be interesting to see. They've had some good games. They also had some questionable ones. I don't know. I think this could be a game where if Joey Bosa makes enough noise, the Chargers upset the Miami Dolphins.
Mike, how much is the coaching situation affecting the Chargers right now? I mean, there's out here in LA, there's all kinds of rumblings whether their coach is going to stay or go, or they're trying to,
Well, the sign of a bad coach is you lose a lot of close games because a coach can make a big difference in the way he manages a game. Okay. I think Anthony Lynn's a good coach, but if this continues, he's going to be a good coach looking for a job. I'm actually going to take the Chargers in this game also. I think Tua will be better than Justin Herbert by the time their career is all said and done. But I think the thing that sticks to me here is Miami has looked really good the last 2 weeks. They had a big road win against Arizona. This is the perfect spot for a letdown, especially for a young football team. So I'm going to take the Chargers in a close game that I think will be high scoring. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks, 6-2, at the LA Rams, who are 5-3. Sam, this is a huge game for the Rams playoff hopes.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at right now, if the Rams were to win this game, they actually take over the division lead from Seattle. That's something we didn't anticipate early in the year. Seattle gets so hot. They off a little bit since then. This is going to be a very difficult game. I think it's going to be just a 3 or 4 point game. We've seen it in the past. The Rams and Seattle Seahawks always play each other very close. It tends to come down to the final drive of the game. I'm going with Seattle just because it's Russell Wilson, just because he's had a very good year so far. But I think this will be a very close game.
Yeah, the interesting stat here, I think, Steve, before you pick it, is the Rams have allowed the fewest completions on throws of 20-plus yards downfield this season, 5 of 23. And they're the only team that is yet to allow a passing touchdown on a play more than 20 yards. Russell Wilson has 7 touchdown throws of more than 20 yards this season, which is tied for second in the league.
Okay. Am I predicting now? Or
yeah, I was just giving you a stat to help.
Okay. And I was reading some of that. I think that the Rams have their back so far against the wall right now that this is a must-win for them. I think Seattle, what I've seen of Seattle, has really been living a lot on Russell Wilson's MVP potential year this year. I think that the Rams may be a little more complete team, depth, and I think while both have great coaches in Pete Carroll and in McVay, the game's at Los Angeles in the brand new SoFi Stadium. So I like the Rams in this game. I think Rams have to win, like Sam said, to keep their playoff hopes really in check.
This was a tough one for me, Sam, because Jared Goff in his last 4 meetings against the Seahawks has averaged over 330 yards passing a game. Seattle isn't stopping anybody right now. The Rams' defense is good. They don't give up the deep ball. I think this is a good matchup for the Rams here. I am actually, against my better judgment, going to pick against Russell Wilson because I think that you are seeing right now some of the inefficiencies of the Seattle Seahawks. I like the Rams to take a close one, Sam.
That's not a bad pick. We saw what Josh Allen did this past weekend. And as I mentioned, the Rams and Seahawks the past 2 or 3 years, they've always been at each other's throats in these games. It's always been very close. This is really a game that could go either way. And like I said, I think there'll be maybe only a 3 or 4 point difference at the end of the game.
All right, next up, the San Francisco 49ers at 4-5 will travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints, who are 6-2. The Saints have been playing really well as of late. And I think this is a game where Michael Thomas will deliver his first big game of the season. I think the Saints will win this game by double digits. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this was a great game going into the season, but now we have the 49ers. They have all these injuries. I think Rich Sherman's either going to be back this weekend or the weekend after that. But really, they don't have to get these players back in time for the end of the regular season or for any of these clutch games. The 49ers are just kind of floating in the water at this point. They have no key pieces on that offense healthy. So right now, I think the Saints are definitely going to win this one. It's going to be a blowout.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, look for a big game from Michael Thomas, but I like the Saints. I think they've got things cranking and rolling. Certainly, momentum-wise, beating Tampa Bay like they did the week before is big for them, and hopefully it's shook the cobwebs out of Breeze's aged head, which is fair. I mean, he's an older quarterback like Brady. So I think the Saints win this one easily. And it's only because, like you said, the 49ers are just shredded with injuries right now, and not the team we thought they'd beat at the start of the season.
All right. Now we're going to probably the game of the century, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sam Teets. Who you picking here?
I bet against the Steelers once this year, and I haven't been wrong yet when it comes to the Steelers game. So I'm taking Pittsburgh in this one. I know you love Joe Burrow. It'll be interesting to see what the defense does this week after not really performing that well against Dallas. We'll see what happens here. They've had up and down weeks. Pittsburgh, to me, is consistent, but they've always pulled it out in the end thanks to Ben Roethlisberger and some of these veteran players from this team. I choose to trust Pittsburgh again.
All right, Risley, you going to have some balls here and pick the Bengals?
Hang on here. You know, the thing that's hard to pick the Bengals are multiple things, but particularly the Steelers lead the NFL in sacks with 32 sacks right now. And getting at Burrows, I don't know if Burrows can handle the pressure way he, you know, I mean, I believe he will.
He can't handle the pressure. He's been sacked all year.
He's a rookie I know. And
he's not a
and
rookie.
The Bengals are 2-5-1. So he hasn't been handling it. He's been having to deal with it.
No,
there's a difference.
He's been handling it. They give up a lot of points, Steve. That's probably the bigger problem.
Yeah. And the prediction is that the Bengals won't be able to get 225 yards offense against the Steelers defense. That being said, 8-0 when you start getting ripe to be picked. You know, mind starts wandering a little bit. Maybe winning starts coming a little easier, or it becomes, and great teams overcome that. And I don't know if the Steelers are a great team yet or not, or just haven't played a very tough schedule yet, or, you know, but I'm going to take the Bengals in an upset.
Damn it.
I'm going to take the Bengals. I just think the record of the Bengals, Steelers looking at winning the best record in the NFL, getting home field advance to the playoffs, might not pay enough attention to the Bengals. And Burrows is a damn good quarterback. And he'll bite you if you don't guard yourself.
All right, there you go, Teets. Risley's very rarely wrong, and I'm going to agree with him today. I think the Bengals win this game. Sam Hubbard will be back. Ben Roethlisberger has 2 bad knees. He has no running game. They've got decent wide receivers. The Bengals' offense is far superior. The Bengals' defense is far inferior to the Steelers. But I think Steve said it best. I've never said that before. Damn. But Steve said it best. I mean, number one, I never see Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless take a drink out of a white styrofoam cup when they're doing a show, Risley. What are you doing over there?
Diet Coke, baby. Breakfast of Champions.
Well, they're not a sponsor, so don't show it. Now, if you want to shave your balls on air and talk about Manscaped, that's fine, but don't be drinking.
I can't help it if some Jack Daniels got put in with the Diet Coke.
So did Brian Evans sign that number 34 Indiana jersey that's over your shoulder?
No, that's my jersey.
It was a joke. Don't get so defensive. Damn. I think the Bengals win. I think Joe Burrow will play well. And I think the Bengals are getting ready to win probably 4 or 5 games in a row and get back in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, and I'm saying that. I'm saying I'm picking the Bengals, not because I'm trying to be cute for the show. I think the Bengals are going to win this game.
Yeah, because all right-thinking Americans do, Sam Teets.
college.
You know, Mike, you said you're not being overly optimistic with the Bengals, but then you say things like they're going to go and win 4 or 5 games in a row, and maybe they have an opportunity because they play Washington and the Giants afterwards, but they're not going to get past Pittsburgh. It just isn't going to happen.
Yeah, I know, because Pittsburgh's awesome. The way they just destroyed the Dallas Cowboys was impressive.
You know what, hey, Steve already alluded to it. Sometimes in the middle of the season when you're undefeated, you have some of those down games like that. But if you can win those games at the very end, that's what matters.
If the Bengals beat the Steelers this week, I don't think the Bengals lose again this year.
Sam, I'm not going that far on a limb. I think they have a good chance to beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to overlook them a little.
They beat the
Steelers. To say they're going to win out the rest of the season.
All right, the rest of the season, this is what they got.
I think Mike has COVID.
They play Washington, the Giants, the Dolphins, the Cowboys. They get the Steelers again, which is an easy win. I worry about the Cowboys, though. Then they play the Texans, and then they finished up with the Ravens at home, who have already clinched the division, Sam.
All right, Mike, so here's the thing. You were a realist for the first half of the season. Then you come out and say something like this. Like, when you finish the year with 3 or 4 more wins than what you have right now and you have playoffs, I'm just going to remind you that you thought they were going to win 7 in a row here to end the stretch.
Yeah, so I'm going to remind you, you thought the Denver Broncos were going to make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I have to have something to remind you about.
But what happens if they end up with 7 or 8 wins?
Well, that could be a problem, but that won't happen. I'm pretty confident it won't happen.
Okay. I'm telling you, when I look at the schedule, if you want me to be honest, I do think that they'll beat the Steelers. I just do. Then they beat Washington, the Giants, 5-5-1, lose to Miami, beat the Cowboys. I'll even give them a loss to Pittsburgh, beat the Texans, lose to the Ravens. They still end up 7-8-1, and I will take that for Joe Burrow's first year.
Yeah, for a rookie quarterback in that division with the offensive line he's had, the defense he has, 7-8-1 has to be a victory, right?
Yeah, and then the fact that Pittsburgh is not going to have a quarterback for years to come after Big Ben retires, and they've got no running game. Their wide receivers are all right. So, I mean, Pittsburgh is probably destined to be last in this division for the rest of the decade.
Mike, I don't think Manning didn't win a game his first year, did he?
He won 3. They were 3-13, and then he went 13-3 the next year.
Yeah, okay. So
but the difference
I think Burrows is the future quarterback in the NFL. He's the next star quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, really, to compare Joe Burrow to Peyton Manning is ludicrous because Joe Burrow is a lot better than Peyton Manning. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens will travel to New England to play the Patriots. Sam, can Bill Belichick get it done here?
No, if you barely beat – I mean, they barely beat the Jets last week, right? So I think beating Baltimore is a little bit out of –
Wait a second. The Steelers barely beat the Cowboys.
That's true.
What the hell is
also done a lot worse than Pittsburgh so far this year.
You either win or you lose. You're either first or you're what, Steve?
You're last.
Have you ever seen Talladega Nights?
Yes, I have. I've seen that movie. I know.
Okay. All right. But you haven't watched Hoosiers yet. Go watch that.
I'll put it – it's on my list, Mike. I've got about 7 or 8 movies I have to watch now for this show. But I really think – look, we are talking about Bill Belichick being a great coach. We know that they have the coaching advantage here in this game against Baltimore. Maybe not, because Joe Harbaugh is also very good. I take Bill Belichick over anyone, obviously, but I think it's a very good coaching matchup.
Harbaugh's the closest guy to him, I think.
I agree. In the league right now, I think he is the closest one. If you could scheme, even if you scheme defensively, take away Lamar Jackson, which is proven you can do. We've seen teams do it so far this year. I still don't know because New England's defense is questionable. I think they're just a less talented team to the point where they won't be able to top Baltimore this year.
Yeah, I think they will actually give Lamar Jackson some issues, probably for a half. And then just the amount of athletic ability on the Ravens will pull away in this game. I think you're going to see something like 34-17, Steve.
Yeah, I think, obviously any team that can beat the Colts has got to be a good football team. So I'm teasing. I like Baltimore in this game. I think they're just, and I don't like New England anyway. So that gives me.
No, because you got a Colts jersey on, and they own that jersey you're wearing.
They do own it. I'm be the first to give you that one.
All right.
If it looks like poop and it smells like poop, it's probably poop.
And after you wipe, make sure you use Manscaped so you don't get anything stuck in the hair.
Oops.
All right, next up, Monday Night Football. That was rather crass, wasn't it? Monday Night Football, we get the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. The Bears are 5-4, trying to keep up with the Green Bay Packers. Steve, who do you like here?
I like Chicago. And I think Chicago should go back to Trubisky.
Who in the hell is Trubisky?
Trubisky, their quarterback.
Why?
Because I just don't think Foles is getting anything done.
Well, I think they both suck, so it doesn't matter who you play.
I know, but they were winning more earlier in the season till the Colts manhandled them. They were undefeated till they faced the Colts. And Colts went up to Chicago and spanked them.
Because they hadn't played anybody yet.
Okay, well, but I would go ahead and make a move back to Mitch, since I can't pronounce his last name right.
All right, I'm going to go with
the Bears.
I'm going to go with the Vikings, and I think the Vikings will win this game by 10 points or more. What do you think, Sam?
I'm right there with you. You got Dalvin Cook. It's going to be a match between Dalvin Cook and Chicago's defensive front, and really that's what it's going to come down to. The Vikings are clicking offensively. They seem to have found the rhythm. Looks like the play calling is working much better in favor of Kirk Cousins, what he wants to do. And defensively, the Vikings are playing a lot better as well right now. So I think Minnesota is hot. I think Chicago is cold. I'll take the Vikings in this one.
All right. So, Steve, you'll be wrong on that game for sure. I'm positive.
No doubt.
No, I'm positive on it.
I am nowhere near in your two's level of NFL prowess and expertise. That's why you are on the show with me and not on with Stephen A. Smith at ESPN.
Huh? Why would anybody want to be on Stephen A. Smith? All right, Green Bay Packers.
You'd be getting paid. That'd be one thing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to deal with him.
Money would be a good reason.
Money don't matter to me.
Oh, okay.
It don't. If it did, I wouldn't be broke all the time.
Should I go back to eBay?
Yeah. Why?
And bid on all your stuff you got on there?
Well, I'm putting it on there to get rid of it because my wife said there's too much stuff in the closet.
There you go.
But so I might as well get some money off of it.
So anybody, I'll just put a plug in for you. Anybody that wants some Mike Goodpasker paraphernalia, go to eBay. What do they need to type in to find your stuff?
I don't know. You can get an Anthony Munoz jersey on there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to have a,
Well, see, I got the signed one from him. I'm not going to sell that. But you've
got a site. Mine's who's your 3481. You've got to have an eBay column.
I think it's under my wife's because I used to sell stuff on eBay, but some of it was illegal. All right, Steve's a Notre Dame fan. Paul Hornung died today, the Golden Boy, who started Notre Dame in the 1950s and the Green Bay Packers in the 1960s, died at the age of 84 today. Steve, what do you know about Paul Hornung?
Heisman Trophy winner. Arguably one of the most, I don't know if he's one of the best running backs. And he probably was. He didn't be in the upper class for running backs from Notre Dame, but certainly one of the most flamboyant and beloved football players in Notre Dame history. Wasn't he part of a big backfield?
No, the thing that was he was with the Green Bay Packers, him and Jim Taylor, Bart Starr.
Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting about him, he won the Heisman in 1956, and I think he's the only guy to do this while playing for a 2-8 Notre Dame team. He became, I'm pretty sure he's the only player to ever do it on a
losing record.
And he led the Irish, if I remember right, in passing, rushing, scoring, kick returns, punt returns, and punting. And on defense, he led the team in passes broken up, was second in tackles and second in interceptions.
They don't make him like that anymore.
Well, you don't have to anymore.
No, well.
Yeah. And he also...
And he probably had an insurance salesman's job in the offseason when he played.
We probably had to. He wasn't making enough money not to. So, Sam, have you ever heard of Paul Hornung?
Yeah, of course. When we go back and look at the Green Bay Packers, it's very easy to see him on a loaded roster. I mean, he won a couple of championships with them, and I'm pretty sure Super Bowl as well. And he's one of the great players from that team, and they are loaded with Hall of Famers.
Oh, yeah. What was his number?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know his jersey number. I don't memorize the jersey number. We've been through this. 5? Number 5.
He was number 5.
Come on. He scored, I think, you can look this up, but I think 1960, the year the Packers lost to the Eagles in the NFL championship game, I think he set a league record for running back. He scored like 176 points.
Yeah, he went on. Mike, didn't he go on and do some broadcasting? And
yeah,
he did a lot of and then he did some cameo television appearances, as I recall, in some of the sitcom shows of his period in time. But I think he had a minor television career as well. But I know he did did a pretty good job as a broadcaster as well post playing career.
Well, see, and the other thing about
he's one of the greats. He's obviously one of the great old-time college football players.
The other problem was his NFL career. I think like 61 or 62, he had like a pinched nerve, or he had something wrong with his neck that really started to slow him down. And then, of course, you had the gambling scandal of 1963 with him and Alex Karras.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Karras were both suspended from the NFL until 1964. And I think it was Pete Rozelle said that Karras and Horning were actually known hoodlums, is what he used.
Yeah. I don't know that's an appropriate way to describe Paul Horning as a hoodlum.
Well, I mean, actually, if you look at his career, it probably is. The one advantage you had was no social media in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, so people didn't beat the hell out of him with it all the time. And people just kind of let it go and swept it under the rug. The sad thing is, I think that's a lot of what's kept Alex Karras out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It didn't keep Horning out, and I don't think Horning deserves to be in before Alex Karras, because I think Alex Karras is one of the 3 best defensive tackles that ever lived.
Well said.
And he was Mongo, wasn't he?
And Blazing Saddles.
And I'm sure Sam has never seen Blazing Saddles.
Have you seen Blazing Saddles, Sam?
No, I have not.
Oh, my God. What do you do with your life?
He learns stuff instead of just watches stuff, Risley.
Now, there's a historical value to Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, because actually the way this country's going, it'll be banned from ever being seen again probably within the next 18 months. So you may want to watch it.
Yeah, you need to watch. Blazing Saddles has a very prominent historical value congruent to today's time and what's happening right now in the world and in the country.
Congruent? That's a word he never knew till he got to L.A. They don't teach that word in Indiana schools.
Congruent means equal or like.
Equal or like.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't mean I didn't know. Well, I didn't.
You didn't know.
Neither did you. You're looking it up right now.
Well, I'm not. Congruent's a math term.
Well, I don't know how to congrue anything, but I'm not very good at math either. I want to remind everybody, Steve.
Yo.
If you had to buy another grown man something for the holidays, what do you think you'd buy him?
I would get somebody a Manscaped for sure.
Why is that?
Knowing my personality, and I like humor, and I like practical things that have an application, and I think a Manscaped, to most people, probably has a legitimate application. And I think it's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
Yes. Plus, it makes your balls happy. And it gives you that bush to tush clean, right, Sam?
Exactly. And if you use promo code TGT20 at manscaped.com, you can help out the show. You get 20% off your first order, and you get free shipping.
Hey, Mike, come to think of it, I think that Manscaped is a perfect gift for anybody who likes ball and stick sports.
Why is that, Steve?
I figured out, Mike.
Oh, I figured you'd have something funny.
No, I'm going to leave it alone.
I get it. It's kind of crass for me. I don't really dip down in the gutter for my humor, but
Ooh,
I guess a ball and a stick. But I've never seen, well, I guess a tennis player could really use it.
Yeah, well,
their balls are fuzzy.
No, but they have fuzzy balls, so
That's
they
what I said.
Probably could use Manscaped. See the application Manscaped would have to Roger Federer?
But if Roger Federer shaves these fuzzy balls, then he wouldn't be able to use them in the match, because don't they have to have fuzzies on them before you can use them?
No, fuzzy balls slow you down.
Sam, do fuzzy balls slow you down?
Not me particularly. Where's this conversation going?
We're going to eventually ask whether you're a virgin or not. So
No, we're not. Why are you asking him? Are you wanting to go out with
I
him?
didn't. I said we're going to eventually.
You're going to go out with him eventually?
No.
Jeez. I'll tell you what, Sam, this is what we're going to do. If the Bengals beat the Steelers, you're going to shave into a goatee and you're going to use Manscaped to do it.
No, absolutely not, Mike.
Why not?
What? I'm not making a bet on my beard. I'm not doing that.
It's only half your beard. And
Yeah, I've had this beard for 4 or 5 years right now.
And he was so sure, Steve. Now he's not so sure. He doesn't really believe in his team.
You know, in this conversation, I've just figured out if I was going to own a Manscaped, which I don't yet, I would probably buy 2. I would keep one in my bathroom and one in my toolbox.
Why would you keep it in your toolbox, Steve?
Don't be a tool, rent one.
Sam, did you find that funny at all?
I find the silence afterwards is a little more funny, I think.
That's what I was
Mike's
going
trying
for.
to figure it out.
No, I'm not trying to figure it out. You want to rent a toolbox and shave another man's balls while you're in your garage is the way I took that. Is that not the way you took that, Sam?
I have no idea what's going on in this show
should
anymore.
See, instead of the Xbox or PlayStation 500 that you stood in line to buy your son, you should have. No, we didn't actually. You should have bought your son a Manscaped.
I wonder if it works on Australian Shepherds.
Their balls?
I don't know.
I don't know. Shave it. Could you shave it on the show? We could do it next Friday.
No, my dog just got shaved.
No. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. We will be back next Monday at 1 o'clock to talk about the Bengals beating down the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm with you.
Thank you. So you can follow Sam Teets at Sam Teets33, Steve Risley at S Risley34, which I think Brian Evans is trying to get from him right now. But Brian Evans' name is not Steve Risley. But that jersey, people do remember Brian Evans a lot, but not as much as Steve Risley because he won a national championship. I paid you a compliment. Come on.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
How about this? If the Bengals beat the Steelers, will you get a haircut like Brian Evans used to have? Get one of those fades?
Dude, I am ugly enough with long hair. I do not need short hair to accentuate my not good looks.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Make sure you check out Manscaped, promo code TGT20. So for now, for Steve Risley, Sam Teets, I'm Mike Goodpasser. You've been listening and watching to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.